Hey guys, welcome to the 10-minute motivational talk. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to deal with negative people. Have you ever wished you knew how to deal with a negative person? You know, that one guy that can always find a way to see the doom and gloom in everything anyone ever says. They just have a tendency of sucking the positivity out of the room. If you can identify with that, then this is the video for you. Knowing how to deal with a negative person, whether it's in your professional life or your personal life, can be very, very advantageous because often we find ourselves holding the bag, holding all the negativity from a person that just unloads on you all their negativity, and you're left holding the bag and trying to figure out what to do with all those negative emotions. When dealing with a negative person, the first thing you need to do is avoid hot topics. What do I mean by that? Hot topics are topics of conversation, whether it be a person or a subject, that when brought up cause the negative person to just go off. They can go off for 20, 30, 40 minutes even talking about a negative person or a negative topic, and it just sets them off. So the first tip is to avoid bringing up those negative topics. When talking to a negative person, bring up topics that are lighthearted, topics that they can't turn into something negative. Even though in some cases you may find a person who can turn anything into a negative. But at least don't talk about something that you know is going to set them off. Step number 2 is to listen and redirect. You can listen to a negative person out of respect and out of perhaps necessity. If you're at work and a negative person comes at you and you don't have a choice but to listen to them, you can actually find a way by using this technique of redirection. You can listen to them first and then redirect the negative comments or the negative attitude towards something more positive or less negative. Here's an example. Someone comes at you and talks about how badly they did at work for a project, and everything they say is negative. And you could say, well, what are some of the things that you did well for that project? Or if it's a topic that relates to their personal life, you could say, well, what about this in your life? And you can bring up something positive. If they have a child or a spouse or something positive in their lives that you can direct their thoughts to, so they can think a little less negatively. So that's the listen and redirect technique. Step number 3 is to ignore the negativity. For the longest time, this was the only way I knew how to deal with negative people. I would just ignore whatever negative things they had to say until they stopped. But that's not necessarily an option every single time. But if you are dealing with a person that just isn't getting the message and they are bringing negativity every single day to the point that you are feeling that you're being affected by that negativity, your best option may be to ignore that negativity. You can nod when they say something, and but don't participate actively in the conversation. That's one way you can ignore them, and eventually they will go away. Step 4 is to dig deeper. You may have someone who's normally not negative, but they may appear, or they may have a temporary state in which they are very negative, where they just all of a sudden it comes out of left field and they become negative, or they start speaking negatively about certain topics. When that happens, there is generally a deeper issue at hand and at work here that you could, if you care about the person enough and you want to help out, you can certainly dig deeper. You can ask them questions such as, is everything okay with you? How is family life? How is work going? So ask questions like that to get them to open up. And sometimes you will find that a person is negative for the moment because something very serious is happening or something very troubling is happening in their lives, and they don't want to share that necessarily unless someone asks them to do so. And you may find out that maybe they have some issues, money issues, perhaps they have a sick child, a sick parent, a sick relative, and perhaps they worry about an illness. And if you dig deeper, you may find that out by just asking. And if once you've found that out, you can ask them to get help to remedy that problem, which will make the negativity go away. Step number 5, or tip number 5, is to be a positive role model yourself. We can be role models to our children. We can be role models to younger people. We could be role models to other people. We could be role models to employees. We could be role models to those who actually supervise us. Wherever you are in life, you can reflect a certain positivity that is aspirational to those who don't have that same skill set, that same frame of mind of seeing the world in a positive light. You may not be able to do that every single time, but when you react positively to negativity around you, it may, and I say may because if a person is negative, you cannot necessarily change them, but it may get them to say, oh wow, you are always positive. How do you get to do that? How do you come to work, or how do you always show a smile on your face? That positive attitude can actually help diffuse negativity when combined with all the tactics, all the steps that I talked about in this video. Finally, step number 6, and this is a last resort step. Walk away. You may be in a situation where no matter what you try, no matter how hard you tried, you just can't manage to get the negativity away from you. When you feel that the negativity is spilling over into your personal life and you're taking it at work or you're taking it on people, you may just be in a situation where the last resort is to walk away. If it's a job, you may find yourself in a position where maybe you need to look for another job. I have been in a situation where that happened to me, where the negativity around me was just so overwhelming that I looked for another job. I left my position and looked for another job at a place where it was more professional, and I left my job. So you may find yourself in a similar situation where no matter what you do, it's not going to work. It's just going to affect you negatively. In that case, walk away. That's it for this video. I hope you find the information helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get notified of upcoming videos, and also leave a comment, ask a question, unlike the video, and I certainly welcome any comments that you may have. Thank you for watching, and until next time, sayonara.